For your support, finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights. Every week from 5 to 9 p.m., there's something new to explore. Enjoy date-friendly events like artist talks, performances, and exhibition openings, or explore art-making open library hours and exhibition tours. Settle into your weekend among community. Free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 42, Wednesday sunny with a high near 64, and Thursday partly sunny with a high around 65.
Mavericks Real Roast Beef in Roseville sets the standard for savory satisfaction. Experience the perfection of their Philly steak, turkey bacon, avocado, and more. Elevate your meal with freshly fried fries or onion rings. Visit mavericksbeef.com or visit them off Lexington and Roseville. Mavericks Real Roast Beef.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be Indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events. And as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we have our friend Arvina Martin coming on here very shortly, and then ending the show with Wendy Pilot with some sacred animal updates that we've all been waiting for and love to hear. A lot going on here. I just want to say a big ahoo to everybody out there. And then I'm going to bring our friend Arvina on. Great to see Arvina. A lot going on. Thank you so much, as always, for coming on Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, a lot happening. And I don't know, it's always like, where do we start? Do we want to start locally? I know there's things happening in Wisconsin and Minnesota. There was a report about the 5 Native Americans taken by ICE and catching up to those things. A lot going on.
Indeed. I mean, it is there. I mean, this is just, I guess, how we live, and that there's always going to be, crazy news happening all the time. And Yeah, we've had some severe weather here in Wisconsin, so we've got a lot of folks that are still recovering from storms that happened at the beginning of May and the end of April. And we've got more folks that are dealing with wind damage on top of all of the hail damage, and 2 tornado warnings in the Madison area, which has led us to 4 in the last month. And I have certainly had fun trying to corral my cats into the basement in order to keep them safe along with me.
Yeah, definitely. And, we have a place in the basement too where we can be. It's interesting. I watched a documentary a couple days ago on Netflix, and it came out like in 2019 about the fires in California. And we know there's been a lot of fires and a lot of wind. We have fires in northern Minnesota happening in the Brainerd area, and our relatives are suffering up there. And they basically said at the end of the documentary that this all has to do with our planet heating up, and I agree. I haven't seen anything like this in my lifetime when it comes to all these fires and all these storms. Usually, when I was a kid, you had to worry in August about tornadoes. Now you almost have to worry year round.
Yeah, actually, I know I think it was last year or the year before, regardless, in the very near past, we had um, a tornado warning in February. And that was the first time in state history, at least recorded state history, that we had a tornado, like a confirmed tornado, in Wisconsin. That had previously been the only month on the calendar with no historic recorded tornadic storms. And I think that, especially in case of fires, we really need to start looking at, or actually, our government, the feds, the state officials and local officials really need to start looking at our traditional ways of managing forests, of managing our natural resources, because we know that our ways are appropriate for the areas where we live. A related experience is that when the big wildfires in Australia were happening, that they found that land that was managed by using traditional Aboriginal resource management, that those properties were damaged far less severely, than others that were managed using conventional environmental management policies and practices. So, I think that we need to start listening to our tribal communities where they are. I know that when I was on city council in Madison, I, referred our city forestry department to the forestry department for the Menominee Nation, because they are renowned for their sustainable forestry program. And, we need to start paying attention to these things. And, we know that tribal knowledge is worthwhile. We know that tribal science is science. Maybe they just haven't gone through the same studies yet, but we absolutely need to start looking at these practices and seeing how we can apply them so that we can help mitigate some of the damage that happens when we experience extreme weather.
Such a good point. Really good point. And I know we've talked about this before, but it's also great that you brought it up again. This is things that make you go, And, we have weather that's not the same. And it's just been really, really interesting. And that documentary kind of rocked me in a sense too, because it was a few years ago. Matter of fact, I think it was like 6 years ago, but here we are, more than 17,000 under evacuation orders in Southern California. Wildfire threatens homes again here, recorded by the Associated Press. So yeah. And Yeah, there's so much to talk about too. And what else is going on there in Wisconsin? I know here in Minnesota, we just ended our House and Senate going ons, and it's sad to see Representative Heather Keeler leave and a couple other people leave, and but representation and being aware of what's going on is kind of what we do here, Arvina, and especially you filling us in what's happening with our Wisconsin relatives.
Yeah, well, we are just like everybody else, gearing up for elections and the midterm elections here in Wisconsin. We do on the midterm years, we elect all of our state constitutional or our statewide constitutional offices, from governor to lieutenant governor, state treasurer, state secretary of state, and attorney general. Those are all up for election this year. And with Governor Evers retiring or announcing that he not running for re-election, we have a field of, I believe, 8 candidates at the moment. And they are starting to make their rounds. I know that we will likely see some of those candidates this weekend at the Ho-Chunk Nation Memorial Day powwow that's going to be happening in Black River Falls. Anybody that can make it out there for that should. I'm planning on being there. It's always a good time, good dancing, good music, good food, good vendors, and potentially the opportunity to meet with folks that are running for office and want the votes from tribal members. The other thing that we are gearing up for is the Democratic Convention, our state Wisconsin Democratic Party Convention, which is going to be happening June 13th and 14th at the Monona Terrace Convention Center here in Madison. And if you go to wisdems.org, there is a link at the top for the state convention. You can buy tickets and access and really get into the mix of everything yourself.
Wow, that's a great update. We're going to talk some more. And as you know, I'm a delegate here in Minnesota, the DFL party. So that's the week after this weekend. So a lot happening. Great you're bringing that up. Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, our political consultant here out of Madison, Wisconsin. First Native American out of Wisconsin, Madison, to be elected in what I like to call is the city council, but you have a different name for it.
Common Council, yeah.
Thank you. Hey, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights. Every week from 5 to 9 p.m., there's something new to explore. Enjoy date-friendly events like artist talks, performances, and exhibition openings, or explore art-making open library hours and exhibition tours. Settle into your weekend among community. Free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Time is running out to experience Unchi Said So at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This powerful exhibition by Danielle Seawalker shares Native stories rooted in collective identity, generational knowledge, and teachings passed down through community. Through bold portraits and vibrant color, the work honors the significance of grandmothers in Native culture and reminds us that sovereignty begins at home. Closing June 6th, don't miss your chance to experience this powerful exhibition. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and this is Native Roots Radio. We are with our friend Arvina Martin, and we're getting an opportunity right now to see her new apartment. And, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook or Blue Sky, there we go. Hey, I just have a quick off-the-subject question that I probably should be asking you off the air, but what's a good time to go to the powwow? Because I know I've gone there in the morning, and then it's like, oh, okay, cool. And then I head back to the cities, and then I look, and the nighttime's rocking. Now I've gone to the nighttime too, and the morning's rocking. So am I confused, or what's the best time for me, Robert Pilot, to drive out to Black River Falls this weekend?
I think you got to stay all day, I always have the same dilemma, whether I'm dancing or not. I like to be there for grand entry because I really love our Memorial and Labor Day powwows in Black River out at the powwow grounds, out by past Mission. I think that like when the weather holds up, there's really nothing better than, grand entry at noon or 1 o'clock in the sunshine. But I often feel like the daytime sessions are for more of a public eye, and because we get so many more non-native folks that come for the daytime sessions. And then when we have our evening sessions, that tends to be more, a lot fewer, or how did I mention that? A lot fewer non-tribal members that are there. And so, it's a lot more of the other, the longer dances we do. I feel like in our evening sessions, there's always either a greencorn dance or a snake dance, which is always fun. I like to trick my fitness app on my watch, and it'll say, I think it looks like you're running. And then I get a nice little map of me going around the arena. And it's actually kind of funny when we do the snake dance, because you can see the little like slithering and, the part where we stop and we're all, all coiled up and hibernating. And it just amuses me to see that little map. But I guess I feel like there's a lot more visiting and more kind of in group things that are happening in the evening sessions than happen during the day, which seems to be more of an outward facing kind of event.
Yeah, I always try to get out there, and especially at the same time, there's a big AA convention in Minnesota. There's 10,000 recovering alcoholics show up. And so I try to figure out if I go in the morning, then I go to this, or go in the afternoon and go to this. And then to compound that, it's my 65th birthday on Saturday. So I'll be heading towards Elite Elder someday.
Elite Elder. That's a very special status.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Well, one of the things that really wanted to talk to you about too is, the shooting in San Diego is really, I don't know. It's so much like here we go again, and of course it's a hate crime, and they're saying it's a hate crime. And it could be downgraded if that's the case, but they said it's starting out as one, and there's young teenagers, and they met online, and here we are again. And I just feel like there's so much negativity coming from the top down and making people feel that it's okay to do these things. And it's really It's really, really sad because, I mean, you're a lot younger than I am, but when you were young, you never heard of any of this stuff.
Yeah, decorum used to be a big deal. Think about the hissy fit that the right threw because Obama dared to wear a tan suit. Like we've clearly like past that. And I have seen I saw a meme going around here regarding a Democratic candidate for governor, Francesca Hong, who's a state representative from here in Madison, and she had gone to like a gathering, and it was outside, and I believe that there was some kind of like volunteer work kind of aspect, and she was dressed as someone who is going to an event outdoors and, not in a suit. And they juxtaposed that image with a picture of Tom Tiffany wearing I will say, mismatched suit with a bolo tie, which I kind of reserve for tribal chairs to wear, in my own personal opinion. But comparing the two, saying, oh, well, she's not dressed for the role. Like, are we really doing this now? Like, is that a hill anybody's willing to die on when we have a president that has been convicted of felonies, who, is trying to give money to people that he pardoned after January 7th, people he actually incited violence, or that he incited to violence, rather, and to overthrow a fair election. And I think that it is his model that he has set for being threatening, for threatening to, have his bodyguards beat up people at his events who may not agree with him. That obviously is trickling down, and others are seeing it acceptable. And I think that, the conversations that we had over the past couple of weeks too, in that, we have so many boys and young men that don't know what to do right now. They see their role in the world changing. They have been socialized to only, display anger when it comes to being emotional, but not other emotions. And it expresses itself as violence against people that they perceive to be different, whether it is, a woman, whether it is, a Muslim person or a Jewish person, and anybody that's different then becomes subject to that violence. And I think that it's kind, it's been triggered by, or happens more often, not just because of the example set in the office of the president, not the Ho Chung Nation office of president, of course, but the U.S. President. That is the example that he's setting, and we don't have any, or at least we don't have many emotionally intelligent examples for young men to follow, and they fall into this manosphere, and it often, it doesn't always, but it often leads to violence, and I think that we're seeing that, and these young men, or these boys that are the perpetrators of this attack, I think we'll find out a lot more of how they became radicalized, and I today watched part of the press conference that the San Diego, I don't know if it was the sheriff's department, but their law enforcement had in response to this shooting. And they wanted to emphasize, therefore I want to emphasize, the actions of the 3 men that were killed likely saved the lives of 140 children that were present when this violence occurred, and they said that not a single child was physically harmed. Now, of course, there's likely to be lots of very, very deep emotional trauma that these children and the adults that are part of this community are going to be facing. But I think that we should, honor the three men that died because their actions saved the lives of 144 children. This could have been far more, have a much worse loss of life. And those individuals were very brave and acted selflessly to protect the children of their community.
Wow, great points as always, and we can blame a lot of things, and we blame from the top down. But as we're talking, and I'm thinking, it's just like I really have to give mainstream media a big, check mark on this too. I really feel like they've normalized a lot of really bad things over the last year, and it's just, thank goodness that you and I can talk, and we're on civic media all over Wisconsin, and also here on AM 950 in the Twin Cities, and that we can still talk about this in a way that really expresses how we feel. And I appreciate you too, Arvina. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with Arvina Martin, and this time, Arvina, I want to ask you what you want to talk about. So get ready. You got a couple minutes here in between commercials, and we're going to let her rip. And you always come up with some great things. So I'm glad to throw the show to you again. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Time is running out to experience Uchi Said So at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis. This powerful exhibition by Daniel Seawalker shares Native stories rooted in collective identity, generational knowledge, and teachings passed down through community. Through bold portraits and vibrant color, the work honors the significance of grandmothers in Native culture and reminds us that sovereignty begins at home. Closing June 6th, don't miss your chance to experience this powerful exhibition. Plan your visit today at allmyrelationsarts.org.
Hello, Minnesota. This is Tom Hartman, and you can catch me every weekday from 11 to 2 right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's smart radio for smart people.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights. Every week from 5 to 9 p.m., there's something new to explore. Enjoy date-friendly events like artist talks, performances, and exhibition openings, or explore art-making open library hours and exhibition tours. Settle into your weekend among community. Free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
Programming is supported in part by Health Partners. If you're age 65 plus and qualify for medical assistance, you may also qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. This all-in-one plan bundles Medicare, medical assistance, prescription drug coverage, and dental coverage into one simple $0 premium plan that also includes $0 medical copays. In addition to saving money, you can get lots of extra benefits and perks, like a dedicated care coordinator, up to $400 each year in rewards for preventative screenings, transportation, a fitness club membership, and more. This can help you live safely and healthy and independently. If you're a senior on a budget, transportation assistance can be huge. Plus, who couldn't use an extra $400 these days? Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 42, Wednesday sunny with a high near 64, and Thursday partly sunny with a high around 65. And make sure you support Hennepin Arts as they're presenting the Tony Award-winning new musical, The Great Gatsby, running June 2nd through 7th at the Orpheum Theater. It's based on the classic American novel by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Find tickets at hennepinarts.org. That's hennepinarts.org.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Bobby Wilson. Witcha.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakunjahade. Hey, welcome back, everyone. I am Distant Thunder. That's my native name, my Ho-Chunk name, Wakunjahade. And we are here with Arvina Martin, another Ho-Chunk relative, and really enjoy our time speaking about what's going on all over Turtle Island. I gave you an opportunity, and I want to see where you're going to go with this, but what would you like to talk about?
Before I get into that, I didn't have their names pulled up, but I wanted to share the names of the men who were killed because of and their bravery that prevented so much more loss of life. Security guard. I'm sorry, I had to scroll back to find my find the names, but the security guard Amin Abdullah, who was the first person to engage with the shooters, he was able to start lockdown proceedings, which bought folks time to shelter in safe places, and the opportunity to hide and to distract the shooters, so they weren't able to go as far. As well, Mansoor Kaziha and Nadir Awad, who are both community members and members of that particular mosque, and they both were ones that managed to help with the response and again protect the lives of these kids. So I think it's important that we remember their names as heroes in this event, who gave their lives. So Amin Abdullah, Mansoor Kaziha, and Nadir Awad. We should remember them as heroes, the heroes that they were. And I am also glad that the media and law enforcement are not bringing up the names of the shooters. So let's think about those men who were heroes and saved the lives of all these children and other community members, and not focus on notoriety for the ones who carried out such a horrendous attack. So I wanted to say that, but yeah, my go-to is always, what are we going to do? How are we going to get involved as Native people, as citizens of our own states, of our communities as well? What are we going to do to change what's happening? And it can seem so overwhelming. And we talk about this so much, but we have to keep talking about it. Thinking about ways that we can engage in helping our communities, whether that is helping folks with mutual aid. Lots of people are losing their jobs or health insurance, or access to various services that they need. Maybe they need money. Maybe you can host a mutual aid donation request to help somebody from your community that is struggling. Maybe that means canvassing, for a candidate that you believe in, that you think can help change how we operate. We have so many elected leaders now that are simply abdicating their responsibilities to push back on the president. They're completely ignoring that part of their job. They're acquiescing, and they're basically saying, yep, we're good with what he does, or it's more important that we don't upset him than it is for us to make a positive difference to our constituents' lives. And because of that, we are all experiencing gas that is like around $4.50 a gallon. We are all struggling with high housing prices. We are struggling with food prices, and potential job loss with the advances that AI is making. And things are going to continue to be tough if we continue along this trajectory. And we all need to be doing something to help change that trajectory. And they can be small, like your efforts can be small, checking in on neighbors, making sure that your elderly relatives are healthy and are being treated appropriately by folks that care for them. And I, of course, am going to advocate for getting involved politically, and asking candidates questions, holding their feet to the fire, and contacting your electeds when they do something that you support or they do something that you are against. Let them know what you think. Because you are one of the bosses, and you're sometimes it feels like you're shouting into the void. But please know that electeds do look at what their constituents say, and some are better than others when it comes to listening to them. But applying pressure where you are able to, and if you have extra, being able to share it. None of us get anywhere by ourselves, and we need to remember that we are in this together, and we need to support each other, and the help that you give now may inspire others, and may put folks in a position that they're able to help you when you need it. So that has to be our contingency plan, is our communities, our friends, and our families.
Excellent. What you brought up there. That is definitely, all small things, helping people, giving that little inch more. And talking about, maybe helping people get out and vote. I'm wearing a Make Voting a Tradition shirt right now, and it's huge because the Native vote has been really big across Minnesota and other places across the country.
Yeah, we have about 20,000 adult voting age Native adults here in Wisconsin, and we've had multiple statewide elections over the past several cycles that have been close, and that our impact can absolutely make a difference. And when we get out and we vote, we show those elected leaders that we are to be taken seriously, and they have to listen to our concerns, and because we will vote if they ignore us, or if they work against our interests, and our interests as Native peoples are not just our individual interests. They are our community's interests. They are the interests of our Mother Earth, and we need to do right by her, and be protecting the resources that we have, especially for those of us here in Wisconsin and Minnesota. We've got our Great Lakes to protect, and that especially as AI develops and places need water, they're going to come to the Great Lakes, and we need to make sure that that water is available for the health of the people, not for machinery.
Yeah, absolutely. And that reminds me too, what's happening in Utah is gross, if not nothing else, when we talk about these data centers and the complicity of government, and the small towns can make deals with these data centers and not really tell them until things are happening. And we're here as Native Americans to protect our resources, our water, our mother sky, mother earth, and father sky.
Absolutely, and we need to be aware of what the impacts, not just on the environment, these data centers are. They tell us that they're going to be all of these local jobs available to construct these data centers, when really they don't use a lot of local labor. So you're destroying your local resources, and you're not even getting an employment out of it. And so we need to look at these programs, these proposals that seem too good to be true. They usually are too good to be true. And we need to shed light and keep talking about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you have. And it reminds me too, when they were having Line 3 go up and through northern Minnesota and the beginning of the Mississippi up at Lake Itasca, that all these jobs would happen, and basically they were contract jobs. There were no union jobs that were given to the community, and also they were really low paying. And we had people from all over the country with coming in and putting in these pipelines. So it's great to remind people of that too, what you were just saying, Arvina.
Yeah, and that as AI grows, that's going to take a lot of, especially entry level jobs, for that people use, or at least now currently have. And we've talked about how the landscape is different, whether it is environmental impacts and weather, how that's more extreme, how we have the public reacting because the president sets this very extreme example as well. Well, I think we're going to be getting very quickly into a new world where entire sectors of jobs are going to be rendered obsolete because of AI. And what are we going to do for those people that are losing their employment long term? What are we going to do? How are we going to get entry-level jobs for college students, or for people that go to technical schools? Where are these what are these folks going to do now for employment? Because these companies that are investing so much in AI, they're going to use them, and they're going to lay off their staff. That's just how it's going to be, and we need to be prepared.
Yeah, especially with everything's run by the stock market, and they're not going to quit their job. They're going to fire the starting workers. Arvina, we got less than a minute here. I'd love for you to let people know how they can engage with you, and how they can get a hold of you, and how you can help organizations out there and people running for office.
Yeah, if you want to get engaged, if you want to work with Native communities, if you are a candidate, or you're thinking about, encouraging Native people to run for office, I do lots of political trainings, and I would be happy to work with you. You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Arvina Martin, and I'm the only Arvina Martin at the moment on LinkedIn. So send me a message and let's talk.
Oh, Big Peenigi, thank you so much, Arvina, for your insights and coming in here and talking to our audience. Really, really appreciate it. And I know our listening audience does too.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to our conversations every week.
Right on. Hey, up next, Wendy Pilot with our Sacred Animal portion. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Oh, wow.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Oh, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio, and I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy Pilot. Wendy's been an animal advocate for many, many years and also is a co-founder of Native Roots Radio, and we started 10 years ago. I just wanted to remind everyone of that. We were getting up early and going to the studio and doing this 1 hour show, and it's just expanded in a good way. And I'm really always happy to have you on, Wen, because people always, when I'm in community, ask for you.
I appreciate that. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Excuse me. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a policy volunteer for Humane World for Animals, formerly known as the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's always my pleasure to do that. So I'm going to give you some bad news first, and then we'll go to the heartwarming news.
Good.
So bad news first, and I'm so glad that you guys are talking about AI and what's happening, because the Trump administration has quietly lifted bans on cyanide bombs when killing wildlife. And you're going to ask me what one has to do with the other, and I'm going to tell you. Specifically, wildlife on public lands. According to the New York Times, the Trump administration quietly lifted this ban over the last couple of weeks, and we're talking about M44 cyanide bombs. So how these bombs work, according to Humane World for Animals, they're ultra deadly cylinder trap, and it uses a scented bait to attract and entice its victim to bite or tug at its head. And once it's triggered, once it's triggered, the cyanide bomb shoots a pellet of sodium cyanide into the animal's mouth, causing pain, distress, suffering, injury, and ultimately death. But it's not just these cyanide bombs. They also could injure humans, right? Pets and more, including endangered species. So what does that have to do with AI? Get this. Trump lifted the cyanide ban. They're going to start bombing wildlife with the cyanide to get them off the land so that they could build the data centers. Okay? So they're going to kill our wilderness to power the machines that are killing our jobs. What you guys were just talking about. So this just happened. And he did it really quietly and nobody really knows about it. But the Midas Touch, who we follow, Aaron Parsons. He's a great journalist. He's an independent journalist, and he finds these little nitty gritty things, right, that nobody knows about, no one's talking about, mainstream media is not talking about, and he brings it forth. So if you want to follow Aaron Parsons, he's really awesome, and I think he really does a good job of being, telling these crazy stories.
Well, that's what's happening is
Mhm.
that we have things like, he's giving, $1 billion to people that, basically are convicts or convicted
Yes,
of
to the
crime, to
January 6th insurrectionists,
those guys too.
$1.7 billion. Yes, he set aside like
But he'll
a
do
fund.
something big like that, and we're all whirling on that. But then he
Mhm.
sneaks in things that what you just talked about.
Exactly. So here's a little story. You might want to grab a tissue. It's very
Oh, don't do
heartwarming.
this to me.
I know. So this was
I just took a shower.
This is reposted from the Wisconsin Humane Society, and it was posted by Jill Marie. And she's talking about the Riglin Beagles. But one of our final beagles, this is her talking, one of our final beagles arrived as Alicia, a sweet senior with some concerning findings on her medical exam. Our vets discovered 2 large mammary tumors. And x-rays revealed the cancer appeared to have spread to her lungs. Despite her prognosis, Alicia appeared comfortable and is not yet showing any signs of her end-stage prognosis. Knowing her time on Earth is likely quite limited, talking about the Humane Society in Wisconsin, we made her available for adoption in hopes to finding a hospice placement where she can go and she could find love and comfort for the remainder of how long her life will be. We made it clear that Alicia may only have a few months to live, and we needed this person, whoever adopted her, to establish a care plan with a veterinarian, right away. And hopefully this gentle girl would go to, be so grateful and have a chance to live out her life. I mean, she's been in a cage her whole life, pumping out puppies, and that's why she has mammary cancer. That very same day, in walked Joanne. Undeterred by the unknowns ahead, she opted to meet Alicia and see if they had a connection. Alicia walked right up and climbed into Joanne's lap, and it was immediately clear these two would be providing unconditional love to each other for as long as Alicia had left. Contrary to sadness you might expect upon seeing a pup in Alicia's state, Joanne was full of joy meeting her new best friend. And just when our hearts were so full they could burst, Joanne went to pay her adoption fee and was informed that one of our staff members had quietly paid it for herself, right? In memory of her own pup who just recently passed away. So how sweet is that? Wednesday was the first time Alicia had ever been free from Riglin Farms, and by Friday afternoon, she had the most incredible home she could ever hope for. Joanne already scheduled Alicia's vet appointment and promised to share updates with our team on their journey together for however long or short it may be. We truly can't thank her enough and couldn't be happier for sweet Alicia. At a time when things can feel heavy, right? Don't forget that there are Joannes in the world making it so much brighter. And again, that was reposted from the Wisconsin Humane Society. And I also want to say, and even though things are so hard in the world, there are people there who will sneak and pay the adoption fee for her also. So I hope that Alicia at least has she's going to have a great home. I mean, Joanne is going to take such good care of her for however time she has left. And even if it's a few months, at least she'll be filled, her last, she's not going to die in a cage, right? She's not going to die at Riglin Farm. She's going to be in the comfort of a home where somebody's going to love her to death. So I'm just so happy about that. So so we got bad news and we got sad news and we got comforting news and we got a little bit of everything. But
you read that really at a good pace. Now we still have like 2 minutes left in the show.
Well, you know what? I always feel like I'm going to run out of time. Like I have so much to say. Maybe I shouldn't even introduce myself. Maybe sorry. So
Well, one of the
I have a
things,
couple of things here.
how about a update on our Wanda? How is she
Okay.
doing? Did she have a
Yeah.
good walk?
So
or
Wanda and I just got back from a walk. We're only walking like, 2 blocks around the block, depending. This weather really in the 50s is like perfect for her. It's
Yeah.
no humidity. It's really cool. Wanda, for those of you who don't know, she was diagnosed a few months back with a collapsing trachea, and it's supposedly very common in small dogs like her. Wanda is a Shih Tzu, and it's progressive, so it gets worse over time. So she went in for a checkup, and the vet discovered that her just felt like her heart's not really beating the way it really should be, and I don't think it's a heart murmur, but there's something going on. Let me take a X-ray, and they did, and they discovered she has an enlarged heart now. So yeah, so she's on lots of medications, and we're just keeping her as comfortable and as happy as possible for as long as she has left. She is an older dog. We're not really sure how old she is.
Right.
But we love her to death, and I try to get her out every day, and as long as she wants to walk, I'll walk.
And she loves that
she
chicken.
really, so she has still stuff to look forward to. So.
Yeah, that's good and a good
Yeah.
story. You're a good puppy mom. Hey, we'll see you all tomorrow. I want to thank Arvina Martin for stopping in as always, and Wendy for your updates. They're so valuable. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll see you tomorrow. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights every week from 5 to 9